Hollywood Bet Scottsville. Hello, everybody. Sunday. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for watching and Waited to Win. We hope you're all good on your side. We are on Twitter at Waited to Win's our handle. We're growing very nicely there. I see our number of followers growing every day, and also our WhatsApp groups are growing also much the same. Daryl Marie's not here. He's out there with the big five, engaging the lions and the elephants and all of those guys. I mean, having a lovely time. And the run he had in the last 2 weeks, he can spend a few weeks there, wherever he might be. So hopefully at the end of the day, he stays in the car. He mustn't get out the car. I warned him, don't get out the car, whatever you do. You won't know what happened comes your way. Just stay in the car. So the one button, it's tickets. All right. Because we need him back on the show, of course. Mr. Burrows, let's talk about this meeting, this Hollywood Bet Scottsville meeting. Glad you're still with us. And let's talk about the first. It's bipod time. Markets on Friday. Number one, She Can, a 7-2 favourite. The 10 captains, second choice, this was Captains Christie, is trading at 4-1. But I don't have any indication as to which way to go here, so we need your guidance in the first.
Clyde, I can't believe the price of Captains Christie, because this filly on debut, she ran down that horse Mia's Athena that was all the rage into 8-10. This filly swooped on by the final 100, and I know she was a big price, but she was fancied. The 1.5 kilo claim of Rachel Vennick is going to help. I think great value, Captains Christie. Her danger will come from numbers 1, 2, and 6. African Folklore was a good winner last time out.
As you said, Captains Christie beat that horse Mia's Athena. Good to have Brandon Bailey with us on the show. It's nice to have you. Thank you for taking Daryl's place today and keeping us informed. I did warn him to stay in the car. I hope he does. I see from that form line, Brandon, Captains Christie, Epic View that Darren's talking about came out of there, ran second or third last, but came out directly from there and won. So maybe Captains Christie is the right one, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think Darren has summed it up over here. This horse was very impressive first time out. And I remember because I was working middle shift on that occasion, Clyde. And if you listen to the post-race interviews, even though it drifted out to 40-1 in the markets, I think that's because all the money was on that first timer that they were expecting to win from the Duncan Hales yard. And they were quick to mention that Captains Christie was putting up some good work back at home, and they were expecting a nice performance. Maybe the win was a bit of a surprise, but I can tell you what, there was a lot of meat left on the bone, and this horse can only improve from there. So I do like number 10, Captains Christie. Rachel Vennick taking off 1.5 kilograms, always a big plus. And then of the balance, I mean, the second favourites must have some sort of a chance as well. If you have a look at them, African Folklore and She Can, both trained by Michael Miller. What I did find interesting is Sereno Mudley won on African Folklore last time out, and he's now jumped ship to ride the horse that ran third, and that was She Can. So I'm not too sure what to read into it, because I watched the replays and I thought African Folklore was always getting the better of that field on that occasion. But maybe she's improved dramatically at home, She Can, and it's interesting that Sereno Mudley's now teamed up with that one. But I still think Captain Christie to beat African Folklore and She Can, who's your current early favourite. It's a pre-recorded show for third and fourth, Clyde.
All right, interesting synopsis there. Thank you for that. And this is what we're going to do for bipods now that you've heard all that information. Race 1 is the start of the bipod, where Darren is going both 6 and 10. So African Folklore and Captains Christie are in the play here, in as far as that is concerned. But Brandon's got a good point that Serena Moodley has taken the ride on She Can. Then Banker 8 by 3, 4, 7 by 4, 8, 10 and 12 by 2 and 3. And the last leg in our bipods, we're going 1, 3, 5 and 7. Play well, everybody. Interesting second race, yeah, isn't she, Bonnie? Excuse me, for Michael Roberts and Rachel Vennick having a run of their lives at the moment. They're 17-10 favourite. I had a look at the form line of that particular form line, if I may, Mr. Burrows. It's been relatively quiet. Nothing has really, come through from that. Still waiting for lots of magic, maybe. But isn't she, Bonnie? I'm not sure if it's a 17-10 shot. Having said that, we don't know what she's taking on here, because I don't know anything about Fiery Filly, unless, of course, you do.
Clyde, isn't she, Bonnie? Now, all her 3 starts were over 1,200 meters, and she's shown pace. Well, in her debut and her second start, showed good pace and got run out of it the final 100. Last time out, put a line through that run. She jumped awkwardly. She was at the back, But what concerns me, she was hanging so badly sideways that Rachel couldn't keep her in a straight line. So she was pulling against her to the left-hand side. And I'm hoping that the 1,000 meters, and if she runs straight, she'll win. I think her first 2 runs are good enough to beat a field of this nature.
Okay, perhaps that is the case. But again, there's a first time. And yeah, I don't know anything about. Do you know anything about this, baby?
I don't, Cloud, unfortunately. I really don't know anything about the first time. I see the early markets. I mean, there's not much to work with at about 33-10 with Fiery Filly, but we'll have to wait closer to race time to see if we can get some comments from the presenters on course. But yeah, I mean, we've been for Isn't She Bonnie how many times? You can only give so much, Clyde, and I don't know, 17-10. I know it's not a strong race, but then you've also got horses that are improving. And trust me, Paul Matchett's not going down to Pietermaritzburg to go and have a look at the surroundings. It's not cheap. The transport to get these horses there, it's not cheap at all. So Law of Success, and the way that Marco van Rensburg's riding at the moment, I do respect this horse, Law of Success. I know the third place runner in that race, you remember quite clearly, Avo on Toast. That's a horse that I think many punters out there can remember for next time.
Right.
But I thought that was a good run. I mean, if Avo on Toast was in this sort of a race, you'd probably put your head down. And Law of Success for me looks more value at about 7-2 than 17-10. Isn't She Bonnie?
Coming out a stronger company, you would say, right?
In my opinion, Clyde.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you have a point, and perhaps that is the case. Yes, she was beaten 3 lengths by Rocking the Time Away on that occasion, and maybe just a couple of lengths by Avo on Toast, but perhaps that is the horse to beat. And interesting enough, Rachel rode her that day, and of course, Rachel is now riding Isn't She Bonnie. I'm not sure if she would have had the choice, with all respect, in a race like this, but let's see. Of course, Rachel does ride for Michael Roberts. She's committed there. Okay, here's the plan. Race 2, guys. Hope that made a little bit of sense for you. Darren, he says, Isn't She Bonnie? And based on that, you know, that Maritzburg run, that penultimate run, she was unlucky. And perhaps it is the fact of the matter now that we're going over this distance for this favourite. That may well make all the difference, because she was, what I was about to say, she was only collared late in her penultimate start. That's what the PA looks like. That's what we're spending. So El Rey Vienne comes out of a very strong form line. It's running in the 3rd race. Now it's a start of the pick 6. It comes from Ricardo, who came and won. And the other horse that ran and won the other day was a horse called Hey Bill, the 4th horse. And not too many have run, let me tell you. So the form line is very strong with this horse, A Rey Vienne as the favourite. And I think it is favourite. Let me go to the market quickly and have a look. Yes, it is. It's 5-2. Number 3 on the card on Friday. 2 Family Favourite is 9-2. And the 7 Rodriguez is 5-1, Darren. So based on what I just saw in that last start, the favourite, the right horse?
He is the right horse in the race, Clyde. You know, that form line of his last start, we've seen 2 direct winners from that form line. The 1st and 4th place runners win. His penultimate start, he won a really good race with Keegan de Mello in the saddle over the course and distance. The danger I made, Pascali, number 4. Now have a look at his penultimate start. He ran 5 lengths off El Rey Vienne. I thought a disappointing effort, but he's 6 kilos better off at the weights. So last time I had to put the blinkers on over 1,200 meters, too sharp. The blinkers on over the 1,750. Being by Ideal World, I think 3 and 4 have to go in. And I would throw in Rodriguez into wider perms because he ran behind a very smart sort Wiccan Warrior last time out.
Okay, it's interesting enough. There's a horse in there called Warrior Bling, who comes out of the Western Cape, and that second horse, Night Ruler, came from Royal Watch to win, so that may have some sort of chance in a race like this. Steinbeck was in there as well. But there are a couple. Perhaps there are a few. We'll get to Darren Burrows' pick 6 in a moment. I want to just quickly ask Brandon Bailey about his thoughts of the race and what you see. I see there's another Joburg trainer heading out Maritzburg way.
Yeah, it's good to see that Fani Bronkhorst has taken a few horses down, and a yard that's really doing well at the moment, Clyde. So healthy respect, and good to see that Marco's getting his opportunities as well. So we'll follow that yard throughout the afternoon. I'm probably going to be with El Rey Vienne over here. I don't think he's a straightforward sort of a horse. still improving, not the finished article, Clyde. And last time out, I thought that was a very good run because the horse that ran third in that race, Al Dante, I know that they think quite a bit of that individual from the MJ Werdendal yard. So I thought that was a good run. Keegan gets on best, drawn 3, will probably go out there and try and lead them, I'm sure, or maybe even get one to follow. But I do make Al Ray VN the horse that they all need to beat. And then a horse that I am going to chuck in as well, only because I was super impressed with the victory from Family Favourite. That was in its penultimate start when winning a good race, beating Valeria's Dream. If you go and watch that race, you'll see that from a long way from home, Muzi had the race sewn up. So I do think that Family Favourite will be effective, but Al Ray VN to beat Family Favourite for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're on the side of El Rey Vienna, but it's a pick 6. Mr. Burrows has got that lined up for us. So here we go. We'll have a look at what we're doing this Sunday afternoon, this being Friday. But for those of you watching this on Sunday, that's what the look and feel of the pick 6 looks like in regards to what we want to do. And our banker does come up in the second last leg. Darren Burrows is bankering Beyond the Boundary. This is a maiden class field. On Friday, the 1 had already been taken out, saying Clue, that's not running. So scratch number 1, leave you with a field of 11 runners. Maiden class horses, you obviously look for the best improver. And, well, I guess maybe there are a couple in here. But one that's been particularly consistent in terms of its current form is a horse called Pixie in Love, Darren, who is trading at around 5 to 1 or thereabouts. Not favourite. Favourite is Laf's runner, Manic Monday, top of the boards that Keegan de Mello is riding. I just want to ask you about that last start. I see he ran beaten 4 lengths on that occasion, but it appeared the winner on that occasion, Grand Areshi, was rather impressive. Only one runner, a horse called I've Got Wings, and that came out and ran second. So that appears to be holding up at this stage.
Yes, Clyde, I thought a very tricky race. You know, you got Pixie in Love. She's run second in her last 3 starts, and she absolutely took off last time out. I still feel she's looking for a little bit further. Manic Monday and Jollification. Now, there was a length separating them on the Grandi Oretti run. They ran 2nd and 3rd. They've both got to go into your play. And then of the rest, I would include Nanotti, 2nd behind Chelsea Blue, who was at 4 to 10 that day. That wasn't a bad effort. So 4, 8, 10, and 12.
So there are a few. It's open from Darren's perspective. It's not cut and dry for anything in particular. Mr. Bailey?
But very open race. I don't like the look of anything here, quite frankly. I think it's a very difficult race. I think they've all had their chances to win if good enough. And I mean, they're just going to need some luck in running. I was on this horse Pixie in Love. Last time out, had quite a bit of ground to make up. And we know on that polytrack surface, it's never easy if the front pair skip away. And she was doing her best work at the finish. Rachel takes off the 1.5 kilograms. I don't think they'll change tactics because she doesn't have that early speed. So that's sort of a draw. You don't want to do too much work. They'll probably drop in and hope that she can get the rub of the green late in the day. So Pixie in Love will be my first selection, but I think you need to go wide over here. I don't know about Manic Monday. Also had its chances. One of these days we'll get it right. Has been knocking on the door. Jollification, Nanotti. You can make cases for all of them, Clyde. So my only suggestion over here is maybe look for some sort of a result in race 4.
I mean, it's quite interesting because Michael Roberts, of course, has got that horse in the race here. Nanotti, right? Who Rachel, I think has ridden previously, hasn't it? Rachel, yes, she's been riding Nanotti. And now she's on Pixie in Love, which is quite interesting. So there you could read something into that. Maybe it's Pixie in Love's day, we'll see. But the guys tend to believe it's a bit more open than that. It's jackpot, so here we go. Race 4, this is what the boys are doing. Mr. Burrows is going wide, and that's a safe jackpot play, as they would call it. Race number 5 on the card, Red Roses 2 tops the boards at 28-10 for Dennis Dreyer. Has got Reefway in the race as well at 7-2. So the Dryers dominating the market at the moment, those two. And if you're on Twitter, you may have already seen our selections or on our WhatsApp group. So there you can go and have a look at it. It's already on screen at any time you feel free. Please join. Mr. Darren, talk about this event. Dennis Dreyer stable dominating the market right now. Would you agree that they're the ones that fight it out, or are you going a bit deeper?
No, only the 2 and 3 for me, Clyde. I thought Dennis Dreyer should dominate this race. Now, Reefway, her only start over 1,200 meters she won. I don't think she saw out the 14 or the mile in the past. She moved up to a point, didn't quite round her race off. So 1200 blinkers on, one of the horses to beat. I see Sean Veal has opted for Red Roses 2. Now, this filly ran in the Strelitzia and the Alan Robertson Fillies Championship. She's only had one comeback run after a lengthy layoff, where Not Disgraced fourth in a 90 handicap. So if not in need of one more run, you've got to include her. 2 and 3, nice exacta play, and the only two I'm including in the exotics.
Yeah, and the Red Roses too. That horse came from the Amaranda, came out of Kalula and won as well. So that does help. But maybe Darren's onto something with Reefway. Blinkers on, 1200, back to the sprints. I don't know about Maritzburg, but maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, look, Clyde, if we have a look at this particular race, Reefway last time out ran in a race where there's already been a winner. That was Lady Tiptree. Came out to win a very good race on Wednesday afternoon, I think it was, when we were racing back in Pietermaritzburg. Won a very good race, quickened from off the gallop, so those form lines have certainly worked out. So you got to respect, I mean, done nothing wrong in her career. They've always thought quite a bit of Reefway, and maybe just taking a bit of time to get back into the winner's enclosure. But knocking on the door and must go in. Clyde, there's one horse that I do want to chat about over here. I'm not sure what price you can give us about Lady Legend, number 6. Having a look, 7 to 1. If you have a look, last time out was a much stronger race. I mean, ran behind that horse, good horse, Captain Fontaine. If you go to the run before that, was a very good winner, and Rachel seems to get a tune. I know it's on the sharp side. Understandably, it's probably a little bit sharp, the 1200 meters, but I do think that this horse, if stalking the speed and they go hard and something's got to run on, I'd watch out for this horse, Lady Legend, 6-year-old bay mare. I certainly believe 7 to 1 could be a bit of value.
Okay, maybe in each way about that Brandon has picked up on. Perhaps worth considering. Mr. Burrows is making it a Dennis Dreyer race. It's his competition to win here, and he has a look at what the jackpot that Darren is going to take. He's going just the 2 horses, and with loading at the back and spending 288 Rand. 4 to 1 the field. Tony Riverton tops the board with his horse McCartney 4 to 1. It's number 3 on the card on Friday. The 5, the second choice in the market. The Gliding Fish, second choice 9 to 2. And number 10 Coming in Hot is 9 to 2, which is perhaps why Fanie Bronkhorst is taking his chances out to go to Hollywood Bet Scottsville and have a go. You give this horse Coming in Hot any sort of chance, Mr. Burrows?
I do give him a chance, but he's lost his way a bit. You know, his recent form is quite bad. So I have included him into the play, but Wiley Riley impressed me last time out. That was Scottsville 1200, course and distance. He was a runaway winner. Here, have a look at his penultimate start. He ran behind McCartney 3 lengths. So that brings McCartney into the race with a big chance. 2 recent maiden winners, 1 and 3, have to go in. Senor Garcia. Now, the drop in trip's going to suit him, and his rating's down to a 64. Sean Veal in form. He's got to go in. So 1, 2, 7, and 10. And then the Gliding Fish returns after a lengthy layoff, but an interesting jockey booking of Keegan DeMello.
It is very interesting that Keegan DeMello's got the ride on the Gliding Fish, but it does appear to be one of those races where I think anything could win. Brandon?
Yeah, Clyde, I've had a good look at this, and again, you're probably going to need some luck in running over here. I mean, this was Wiley Riley, a very good winner last time out, but if you go to the run before, McCartney beat it comfortably on that occasion. That was the 1st of February when McCartney went on to win a good race. So, I mean, it just depends what sort of improvement they've both made at home. It's never easy from here onwards out of the maidens, but both horses must have chances, and I am a big fan of Jason Gates, I might add. I think he's a very good rider, underrated rider, and I think he'll give number 3 McCartney every chance of going to double the score. So I like a bit of number 3 McCartney to get it right. I think Wiley Riley will be right on top of them, and again, healthy respect for Coming in Hot. Dr. Malandi Taliat, I'm sure she'll be there to scream at her.
I'm sure she will be. And there's a horse in here that's got not a bad form line, Brandon. A horse called, what is it called, from Mace Roberts' stableman, that horse of that Rachel's riding, Lord Edward. That last start, I mean, you guys can figure out the form, and that's what you're there to do, where they run to Purple Operator. The second horse won Bless Me Fred, and the third horse won Harley's Fate. came out at one, and not much else has run, to be honest. So the form's quite strong, and Lord Edward was only beaten a couple of lengths on that occasion. So I would imagine in that sort of company, perhaps would have a bit of a squeak. So maybe just don't leave it up, put it in the play. The stable's hot, the combination's right. I think it's worth slotting in.
Correct, and a good rider, Rachel. Very good rider. I mean, gets horses to improve from nowhere, and you're 100% onto something, Clyde. It's a sort of race where I say they're going to need a bit of luck. They're probably going to have to improve a couple of lengths out the maidens now to be competitive in the next division. But in this sort of race, anything can happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Lazy Guy were even to come through and win. I know a bit disappointing last time out, and he took some time to get his maiden out the way, but sometimes these confidence boosters are a big thing for these horses.
Okay, well, we've got 3 more to go now. 6, 7, 8. Here's a look at race 6. We've got a quartet lined up for you. This is what the gentlemen are going to do. They're taking these horses boxed in 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. That's what they consider putting into the play. I'll repeat that for you. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 10. Horse Beyond the Boundary comes out of the Western Cape now, having travelled there and visited. Last time out, just having a look at the run, looked like it was going to move it and go through and win and take it over, and does appear to be the horse to beat. Yeah, I know Darren Burrows is quite big on Beyond the Boundary. And you'll know the Cape Town form better. That last start, what did you make of it, Darren?
Yes, Clyde, he moved up to a point last time out. Didn't quite round his race off. That was 1,800 metres. Now have a look at that form line. One runner was Lion's Head, who got beat in a photo finish by Shorthead. Have a look at his comeback run in Cape Town in December. That was over 1,400 metres, and he was a runaway winner. He won with under hands and heels ride. On that strength of those 3 runs in Cape Town, he'll win a race of this nature. Dangers, Master Bling, impressive on debut, didn't beat much, but he is highly regarded. And Lord Varus from the Paul Matchett stable is racing off a competitive mark. So 1, 2, 3, but very strong about the 1.
I have respect for the Paul Matchett raider, obviously Lord Varus, but from what you've summarised in terms of it being the 14 and the manner that it won Beyond the Boundary, Brandon, does look pretty hard to beat in a race like this.
Clyde, I'm actually quite surprised to see that this horse is 22 to 10 in the market, because I know they think highly of this individual. Last time out, they were trying to ride for some luck in hope that he would have seen out the 1,800, because if you go to the run before that over 1,600 metres, he was in it for a long way, and just that last 150 metres or so didn't finish it off. Back to 1,400, probably be given a small chance. I don't think he'll be too far off the speed, but Sean Veal knows him well, and I know that they think quite a bit of this individual Beyond the Boundary. So I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be lining up in some of the features coming up throughout champion season, Clyde. So 22 to 10. He's got to carry the pudding of 60 kilograms. We in hope that he's travelled well from Cape Town back to Durban. But I do think he's going to take a power of beating. And I'm prepared to wear my heart on my sleeve and say that this is a better 22 to 10.
Have a go. Well, this was their Daily News 2000 horse, Allison stable last season. So you're quite right. It may well be they, aiming at some features come the winter season out KwaZulu-Natal way. We'll see what happens. But let's get through Sunday first. Hopefully Beyond the Boundary can put the matter to rest. Here's a quick look at what the intentions are, where the guys are saying we're going with Beyond the Boundary. That is the right horse. We have respect for the raider, Lord Varus, no question about that. But we believe Sean Veal will deliver the goods for Alison Wright. Last race today. Hope it's been a good Sunday for you. Enjoyed Sunday lunch. Let's get on to a Tender Dry. Favourite number 5 on the card at 7 to 2. And we said earlier coming in hot may be the reason why Fani's there, but that's not the case. Well, we don't know when we were doing this Friday, but this is definitely the reason what Fani Bronkhorst is doing at Hollywood Bay at Scottsville. He's got Tender Dry, who must have a chance. Favourite 7 to 2 in what does appear to be a competitive race, Darren.
Very competitive, Clyde. I played wide in the exotics. Now, I like a bit of Sea Eagle, number 8 on the card. She ran in the off-to-stud handicap behind Humdinger 3 runs back. She was rested since August to January. She ran 5 lengths Lady Legend, 3 lengths Sea Goddess. We've seen Miles Princess come out of that race to win. Having a peak run and 3.5 kilos better off with Sea Goddess this time around. I think she could reverse the form. So a small each way bet, Sea Eagle. Others to consider. 1, 2, 3, 5, and an interesting runner, number 9. You will like that form line, Clyde.
Malcolm Dream, yeah. Everything's one from Malcolm Dream. Sleeker Silk, the winner, came out and won again. The third horse, Mel's Princess, who later on came out and won. Maria Carolina came out and won. Dance My Lord came out and won. So Malcolm's Dream may have a serious chance in a race like this. Picked up at 12-1 is the ride of Sean Veal and Mark Dixon. They're in good form and value. But you'll know Tinder Dry better than most, Brandon. Maybe elaborate a little bit on this horse.
Yeah, look, Clyde, if you have a look at Tinder Dry, the important key over here with Tinder Dry is there's got to be speed. If there's speed in the race and she's only got 5 or 6 lengths to make up turning for home, she'll be very, very hard to beat. I've spoken to Fani Bronkhorst on a number of occasions about Tinder Dry, and he said anytime there's speed in the race, she'll be doing her best work at the finish. So Marco knows her well. We go back to that run on the 2nd of March on the inside track, came from a mile back and was on the inside when majority of them were winning towards the middle outside of the track. Tinder Dry snuck up on the inside and won going away. So if there's a bit of speed in the race, she'll take some beating, and 7-2 could be the value. I think healthy respect for Sea Goddess and Leopard Lady. They do look to be the immediate dangers, but we just got to hope there's speed, Clyde. If there's speed, in or out Tinder Dry.
Really? So you're big on it. Yeah, and listen, I think you may be right, because after that one on the inside track, that penultimate start, that horse came out and won from there, Midnight Crystal, just the other day. Midnight Crystal won. That's so it's all happened very quickly in the space of March, but this has got to be a serious run at Tinder Dry. That there is absolute no doubt. But Darren Burrows has got a horse in here that he does like. He has spoken about it. So let's put that up for you guys. You can have a look. And he's going with number 8, Sea Eagle. He does believe it's each way value. On Friday, just so you know, Tinder Dry is 7-2, just to give you an idea. This horse, Sea Eagle, on the screen, number 8, trading around 7-1 the win and about 15-10 the place. And then don't forget about the best form line horse in the race, a horse called number 9, Malcolm's Dream. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to the team, to Ricardo and everybody else that makes this work. We really appreciate it and the support that Waited to Win gets.